Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Guys, things get weirder and weirder. 20 hours ago, in fact, guys, actually, some of you guys are complaining, saying that when you click the live thing, an ad pops up and then you have to wait 5 seconds to skip it. So I'm just going to wait for 10 seconds, guys, and then we're going to go. We'll start again. Hopefully, you guys have skipped through the ads and, we can be on. So, guys, things just get weirder and weirder. I honestly didn't think these things would be showing themselves as quickly as they are. So Trump's road to war has been revealed. It was revealed like 20 hours ago, maybe 21 or 22 hours ago now. We're going to be talking all about that, guys, today. We're going to be talking about the Middle East and how that's going to affect us in the United Kingdom. Even though we are seeing this diversions, it's still going to affect us in the United Kingdom. We're also, at the end of the video, I'm going to mention some things that David Lammy said on his speech at the Labour Party. And guys, if we were ever in any doubt about these wars, if anybody was in any doubt that there could be a peace deal, people would just stop blowing themselves up and we could go and conquer, space and do whatever, guys, what David Lammy says proves everything. Now, just before I start this video, guys, I need to caveat this as always. A lot of this is my own analysis. A lot of this is my own speculation and my own opinions. Where I share links and talk about links, I will always put them in the description once the video is uploaded. I have to upload the video, then it'll take like a while, and then I can put the links in. Guys, absolutely catastrophic things happening at the moment. The situation in the Middle East, I can't even keep up with who's doing what and, who's throwing missiles towards each other. But, guys, let's just get on with it. And let's just start. Oh, yeah, guys, please give us a like, a follow, a share, a subscribe if you've not done so already. So what I want to start off talking about is the Trump's road to a ground invasion with Iran. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Sean, that's so wild. That's fantastical. That's science fiction. That's never going to happen. Okay. I'm going to tell you the seeds have been sown. They're out there for everyone to see. And all that's going to happen is these little seeds that have been laid out, these things are just going to flourish. And they're going to flourish into huge oak trees. And then we're going to look at them and think, yeah, this is happening. So without further ado then, guys, let's just quickly talk about what's most recently been said by the French president. Is it president? Yeah, the French president Macron. President Macron's come out and he said, that he is, showing solidarity with the Lebanese people. So the French have been a huge ally of Israel, hitherto. So what we're seeing now is just, remember what I said yesterday, guys, or I've said it so many times. If you look at all these global events and you see and if you already know that the outcome is a global war of industrial scale, and that the United States is going to focus in the Middle East, the United Kingdom is going to lead what's left of NATO in Europe against the Russians, everything becomes clear. These things, these relatively isolated incidents, they're not isolated anymore. You know what the meaning is. So when Macron comes out and he says, he's showing solidarity with the Lebanese, it's just another step towards this diversions, guys. Everybody else is thinking it's out of step and it's a bit odd. But those of you who follow my channel, you'll know, no, it's not. It's exactly part of the plan. So quickly, guys, I know I've mentioned this before, but I don't think I've shared it. So I'm going to share now real quick what it actually is. So people say that there's not going to be a mission into Ukraine and that, NATO boots or EU boots are not going to enter the ground. Guys, they've already got a mission name for it and it's on their website. Like I said, nothing's hidden anymore, guys. Everything's out there for you guys to see. So this is just going to be a bit of confirmation, guys. So again, I'll put these links in the description, guys. So the EU military assistance mission in support of Ukraine. This is the one they're talking about. Rather than doing the training outside of Ukraine, doing the training inside of Ukraine, because it'd be easier. It would be easier for logistics. They'd be able to get more Ukrainians through the system because they wouldn't have to get them out of the country, and it genuinely would be a lot easier. But It's kind of the big but. As soon as this happens, you've literally got now NATO boots on the ground in Ukraine. And then you have something called mission creep. We always get mission creep in every conflict. Anyway, so that's the name there, guys. EUMAM is aimed at strengthening the capacity of the Ukrainian armed forces to defend Ukraine's territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders, and to deter and respond to possible future military offensives by Russian and other potential aggressors. Obviously, they're talking about Belarus there, but I don't think they can mention Belarus. Here we are, guys. Provides training to the Ukrainian Armed Forces personnel at basic, advanced, and specialist level on medical assistance, CBRN, which stands for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear, demining, logistics and communications, maintenance and repair, and among others. It also provides, here's the thing, guys, it also provides junior leadership training from section, squad, and platoon level up to company, including, there we are, guys, operational training. I called it something else, guys. I called this, when I was talking about this a while ago, I called this task-specific training. So operational training, again, this is my interpretation of this, would be where you get a load of guys, you say, right, okay, your task this in 2 weeks' time is to go and take out this facility. We are going to train you on taking that out. Look, they're telling us operational training. It's kind of an oxymoron, because operational training, it's either training or it's operational. So that's what I'm interpreting that, guys. Okay, and I'm going to say I'm 90% right on that. So with that operational training, you would have operational mentoring as well, where you would have the senior guys, the people who have been conducting the training. They would go out on the ground with these guys and they would sit back. By sitting back, I don't mean sitting back. I mean, they would be out on the ground with them, but they'd be there as a advisory role with weapons for self-defense. You guys work out the rest. Preparation of companies, battalions and brigades in collective maneuvers and tactics up to battalion level, and advice on the planning, preparation and conduct of live firing exercises. So that's the key takeaway here, guys. The operational training, and I've spoke about this. I called it operational no, I didn't. I called it, what did I call it? I called it task specific training, which is what you would do if you had a group of people and you needed to train them up to whatever standard, and time was limited. So that's how you do it, guys. They're telling us they're literally telling us now what they're doing. It's all out there in the open. All you need to do is go and look. Obviously, I'll put all those links in the description. So what's been happening in the Middle East? Why is Trump going to be in a war with Iran? Well, guys, you've got to look at a few things, and you've got to look at them, obviously, holistically, taking a step back. First of all, we've got the resolution 559, which states that, in fact, I've got it up here, guys. I'll put it in the description. I'm not going to share it with you. I'm just going to read it verbatim. The resolution declares that this policy of the United States to use all means necessary to prevent Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon. That's out there, guys. That is in the US now. That's what they work from. So we already understand that is one road pathway towards this conflict. Now, the next pathway, and I will share this with you guys because it's literally came out like 20 hours ago. Where are we? There we are. And it's wild, guys. It's really wild. Iranians for Trump movement. So there's a new movement in the United States. Look there, guys. So 20 hours ago. This is like brand new, hot off the press. I can pretty much guarantee you no mainstream media outlet has got onto this because they don't understand the significance of it, guys. That all they can do on the mainstream is report what they're being told to report, but they don't know but they don't know what to report because nobody's told them. They're like 4 or 5 weeks behind us. So this is what's going to drive us into war, and I'll tell you how. So a group of Iranian Americans have launched Iranians for Trump, a movement to mobilize support for presidential candidate Donald Trump in the upcoming US elections. Now, the article goes on, it talks about, I'll put the link in the description, guys. What's important for this video right now in this live stream is the route that this will take us to war. So now we've got these double. I don't want to use the phrase double-ended, guys, because that's something totally different. We've got these double-faceted approaches to this war in Iran. And what you're going to have very soon, probably when Trump's been elected, you'll start to see the rhetoric changing from the Iranians, via this group, Iranians for Trump, they'll be putting a lot of media on what life used to be like in Iran. They'll be putting a lot of media on, you know what, guys? There's a lot of people in Iran who actually want democracy. There's a lot of people in Iran who are pro-West. There's a lot of people in Iran who would support, for example, the United States coming in and overthrowing the government. That's what this article means, guys. And we're going to see that, guys, honestly, now I've said it, everything, you will see the tiny steps towards this. You will also see more rhetoric about Iran producing a nuclear weapon, more rhetoric about Iran having the capacity, potentially, to build their own nuclear weapons. And guys, it seems to me like they've just cut and paste the playbook from Iraq, and they're literally just cut and paste and change the names. Iraq, well, it sounds like Iran. Let's just change Iraq for Iran, and they've literally put that in place, guys. That's going to be the next thing. It's going to be the United States wants to overthrow the leadership in Iran. And they're going to be supported by, what is it? What's the group called again? Iranians for Trump or something. So, guys, I'm just going to quickly show you guys what life was like in Iran. It's absolutely wild. So this is before the Islamic clerics took over. And you're not, you probably won't believe what life was like in Iran before. In fact, let me go right up. I've ruined it for you guys. I've shown you the pictures before. So from locals doing the Tehran twist to shoot, guys. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually an expert at the Tehran twist. It's my next dance. I may be releasing it. To students supporting mullets and miniskirt, fascinating photos. So this was before the Islamic clerics took over. So these are, it's just absolutely wild what life was like in Iran before the Islamists took over. And then, this, I had to check twice on where this actually was. The description is wild, guys. Rolling out the red carpet, Persian rugs lined the road for President Eisenhower's motorcade in Tehran, 1960. Guys, that is cool. Having that many rugs lined out as like your red carpet, that is cool. I'm not bothered what anyone says. You've got guys doing, these are Iranians, these are Iranians, guys. This is what life was like in Iran before the Islamists took over. There's no denying that, guys. These are the pictures. And of course, guys, there's lots of pictures. I'll put these in the description, but the reason I'm sharing this is because I'm showing you what the rhetoric's going to be like as soon as Trump. And again, obviously, I don't know, but it's looking likely he's going to win this election. As soon as that happens, all this rhetoric's going to be coming out. All this rhetoric about, and then you'll start to see, you'll see scenes from in Iran itself of people demonstrating and people protesting against the government. We know this happens, guys. We know that there are, potentially American three-letter agencies that pump money into these things, and we shouldn't pretend it doesn't happen, because we know it happens, because it's happening here in the United Kingdom. Most of these, who's funding this Just Stop Oil? Who funds Black Lives Matter? Who funds all these splinter groups that are laid there to divide our society? And of course, the West do it as well. It's just how this thing works, guys. And I'm not here to tell you guys what's right and wrong. I'm here to tell you what's coming. So, you'll see these protests, you'll see the government clamp down on them hard, and then you'll see more outrage. And all of a sudden, Iran will be a potential, Iran will be one of those places that they all want democracy. They don't want to have the government they've got. And that's when you're going to see it, guys. Let's not forget, at that time, there will already be conflict in the Middle East with Israel, with Hezbollah, with Hamas, all over that region, guys. That will already be in absolute, guys, it's already in flames at the moment. You know, they're talking about ground invasions. Now, I saw an article, I think today, in fact, I'll share it with you now real quick, guys, this article. Because what the article talks about is how, is it this one? Hang on, I think so the article talks about how if there was a ground invasion in, there it is. So if there was a ground invasion, there would be no clear winner if Israel and Hezbollah start, you know, escalate to a ground war. Now, I'm not going to get into the article there, but I'll tell you in short form why that is, why there's no clear winner. There will be no clear winner because, I mean, straight away when you think about it, you're like, well, of course the Israelis would motor through these guys. Yes, they would. But remember, you're not, you know, these guys are not going to fight the Israelis force on force. They're going to be doing IEDs. They're going to be doing guerrilla warfare. They're going to be doing sniping. They're going to be doing ambushing. There's going to be a lot of dirty tactics. And as well, the Lebanese, they would have home team, home player advantage. Imagine wherever you are now, whether it's in the UK, the US, or wherever. Guys, don't forget also to drop comments in the comments, any questions that you guys have got. Yesterday, we had some really technical questions, and I enjoy answering these technical questions. There's nobody else that does this, guys, all right? I will answer your technical questions. I will give you, you know, straight up answer. And I do this in real time. I do this without looking at any books or anything. So you guys know that I know what I'm talking about. You know, if you asked a newsreader or like a politician, they would give you a flim-flammer answer and they wouldn't answer your question. Guys, when we're talking about these conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine, you know, I do know what I'm talking about. That's why I can give you those answers in near real time when you ask me. So what I'm going back slightly. So what I'm saying now, guys, is imagine if, for example, wherever you live, wherever that may be, you know, imagine if a hostile occupying force came into your local town and occupied your school, the school the school you went to as a kid. You would know that area a lot better than those soldiers. You would know where the houses were, where the dips in the ground were. You would know everything around that area. Those soldiers in that area, they wouldn't know that. And, you know, it's a big thing. Knowing and understanding the ground in the local area when you're talking about an occupation, it's a huge advantage or disadvantage, whichever way whichever side you're on. Also, the occupying force, they have to take with them all their food, all their water, all their ammunition, you know, everything they have to bring with them. So that means trucks that are vulnerable. It means logistics runs, which are vulnerable to ambush. It means, you know, it just becomes a lot more difficult for the, it becomes a lot more difficult for the occupying force. Whereas the locals, the indigenous force, they're getting food off the locals. You know, they don't have to wear a uniform. They can wear civilian clothes. You know, the weapons, they don't have to carry them because they can cache them. It becomes very easy for the home, for the home force to, you know, to repel these attacks. So that's why, you know, although on the, you know, on paper, it looks like the Israelis have the clear advantage, when you actually get out on the ground, when you're actually conducting these combat operations, you know, you can see that because of the reasons I've told you, it becomes a lot more difficult. And that's why you've seen scenes in Gaza. And guys, absolutely brutal. I honestly can't. The Israelis used to come and do cross training with they always wanted to do fighting in built up areas, and they always want the Israelis actually used to request. They wanted to do the training with the parachute regiment. You know, that's what they always used to ask. They used to come out. We used to do cross training with them. You know, they were some good guys. But what the Israelis do once they've cleared a building, they're just bulldozing these things, and they're bulldozing it so nobody can get behind them. Guys, it's an absolutely brutal tactic. It's brutal, it's inhumane, but you know what? It does work. You know, or from a military side of things, it does work. It's absolutely like brutal. I personally don't think I would. Well, you know, the Israelis are the Israelis, and they'll do Israeli stuff. You know, I'm just telling you why they're doing it. why you're seeing, images of bulldozers going in and taking down buildings. It's so that people can't get in behind them, because you know what? If there's no buildings that people can get in. So they're moving through and they're just destroying the buildings behind them. But this takes time. It's not easy. It takes a lot of manpower. It takes a lot of, logistics. Those bulldozers, they're heavy, they're slow. They're well armored, but with the increase of these small drones, again, the tracks, what we found from the war in Ukraine, it's no longer it's the top attack that's the most effective. It's the side attack that takes out the tracks on these on the bulldozers, on the tanks, on whatever. And then once the tracks are gone, the vehicle itself can't move, and then you get lots of small arms coming in after that, and that will normally immobilize most vehicles. So that's what's that is the way towards the Middle East right now, guys. There really is no clear there's no clear winner at all. And with these recent developments, and again, guys, I don't know, it'll be interesting now to wait and see how long it is before mainstream media start talking about this Iranian group for Trump, because guys, this is going to grow into a movement. The movement is then going to move to Iran. The Iranians are then going to try and overthrow the government themselves. You'll see the clashes, you'll see the internal clashes, and then Trump will be saying, those Iranians, they want democracy. Well, if the supreme leader doesn't stand down, I'm going to send my whole navy in there, or whatever. You know what I'm saying, and that's going to be the premise of it. And again, you've also got the premise of the nuclear weapons, but you put these two together, it's an almost, guys, it's an inevitability at this point, especially the way the world is at the moment. And guys, I keep having to caveat this. My opinion, my speculation, my analysis, but, I'll share all these articles with you, read through them yourself, and just, time is a great vindicator. We will keep watching and you will keep seeing these baby steps. Like when I said we're going to see these diversions, like when I said, we're going to have the F-16s flown by NATO pilots. Nobody would, everybody was thinking, first of all, nobody thought the Ukrainians would get the F-16s. I was like, well, they're talking about it. So that kind of means it's already done, because that's what things are. If we see it on the news, they've spoken about it, they've agreed on it. And, because nobody wants to be that, they don't want to be, the Ukrainians don't want to be those people who, they don't want to be seen to be asking for something and not get it. They don't want that publicity. But it needs to take baby steps, and it needs to be perceived to happen organically. Guys, it's not organic, it's planned, and we can see that, we can see the end goal, and now we understand it. Guys, it's all there laid out for us, in front of us, in real time, 20 hours ago, or maybe 21 or 22 now. So the next steps we see, we'll be able to understand them. And because you can understand them, you can make your own triggers for your own family. Maybe you want to, maybe you've got an idea about, you want to buy food, water, medications, whatever. We will see these triggers in place, especially now we understand the road to war for Donald Trump, for Donald Trump's invasion of Iran. Guys, I'm the first person who's saying it. I don't believe anybody else has said it. I don't believe anybody else has laid out the foundations yet, because nobody else has clicked onto it. Anyway, guys, conscious of your comments. What have we got? Right, guys, we're going to come on to your comments now, and then we're going to go on to what David Lammy's been saying at the Labour conference. Now, before we get on to what David Lammy's been saying, let's just remember, it's not David Lammy's speech, it's whoever's told him to write that speech. It's not what David Lammy said, it's what whoever's behind David Lammy said. So for those of you, and again, guys, I don't mean to insult anyone's intelligence, but, what happens is you will get a politician, David Lammy, and behind him, he will have a number of advisors in that role. Those advisors will be senior guys. They'll know what's happening, and they'll be the ones making the decision. Nobody votes for them. They don't change position. They've been there years, and they're the ones who are making these decisions, all right, behind the scenes. So when David Lammy comes out and he gives the speeches, especially when it's these, I mean, you can catch David Lammy and he's, if you ask him questions, like if you got David Lammy in here and he was sat at the side of me, you were both asking us questions, guys, you wouldn't think he was the politician and I was just the random guy on YouTube, because he can't answer questions in real time. He can't give in-depth analysis. He can't give in-depth answers because he just doesn't know. And I don't mean that anything bad on him. You know, he shouldn't be in that position. It's not his fault. It's just happenstance. Anyway, but what's going on? Gladiator 2 trailer. But when he's doing these big speeches, these big pre-rehearsed speeches, every word on that speech has been, you know, meticulously gone through with a fine toothpick, and it's been gone through by their PR team. It's been gone through by all the people who work for him until that speech is didactically perfect and it lays out everything in front. So that's what. So you can get a lot from these speeches, especially the didactic ones. You can also get a lot from when David Lammy's just doing gaffes, or Keir Starmer's doing gaffes, or Angela Rayner's doing gaffes, or Jess Phillips is doing laughs, or what's that other one? There's Wes Streeting. Guys, I don't know about you, but there's something about Wes Streeting, the health secretary. Don't like it. Something I don't trust. It's just my spider sense. I've got no reason for this. I just don't like him. Spider sense is telling me there's something seriously wrong with him. Anyway, guys, let's come on to the comments. Guys, if you're watching for the first time, please fire a comment over. I answer all these questions about, you know, the conflicts in the Middle East, the conflicts in Ukraine, UK politics, all that sort of stuff, you know, and I'm doing this in real time. And I do it in real time because I prefer doing it in real time. When I'm doing my videos, you know, I do them in one cut. I don't re-edit them, you know, and re-edit things in or out, and I don't go off a script either, guys. So most of I'm going to say all the information I give you is from up here in the grey stuff. Where are we? Right, guys, hang on. I've got a couple of things I need to close because they're blasting my screen. Right, wow, okay. Where are you, Raven? Right, hang on, right. Anyone else hear that Israel apparently declared war on Iran today? No, I did not hear that. There was an article like a month ago or something, and the article said, like, again, this is off memory. It was like, it was a CNN article, and it said, Israel or all but declares war. Again, I genuinely don't think we're ever going to have a situation where, you know, I don't think we're ever going to have a situation where, you know, we have the world leaders come up and they say we're going to declare war. I just don't think it's going to happen. Where are you, Raven? I am just out. So where are you, Raven? I'm just outside. Right. Okay. So Kev P was sending a message at 7:59 saying, where am I? I'm punctual. I will be here on time. You guys don't need to worry about my timings. But thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Israel is getting really bad. Yeah, so the situation in Israel, that's what's going to happen, guys. All right, we're going to see this situation in Israel, guys. Say what you want about the Israelis. You know, they know how to do a war. So the Israelis are fighting to the north. They're fighting to the south. There's talk about a ground invasion into Lebanon. I don't know if that's going to happen. We just spoke about that. You know, just some not parameters, just some you know, some little bits about that. You know, if the Israelis go in there, they're gonna. It looks like on paper the Israelis would have a walkover, but the Israelis have to take everything with them. They have you know, but the Lebanese, they have the home team advantage. So it's not as easy. It's not as easy to do. It's not as easy to make that analysis as, you know, people on the news say. Again, guys, people on the news have no experience. They literally read off a teleprompter. I don't have a teleprompter, guys, because I'm answering your questions in real time. Good evening, Michelle Ackers. Good evening, Jamie LUFC. Good evening, Pure Tidy. Who's Pure Tidy? Well, do you want to come to my house and do some Pure Tidy? Because it's an absolute mess. Good evening, I see. Yeah, we couldn't get into the studio. So, guys, we've been trying to build a studio. Well, we've got the studio built. We've got Wi-Fi in there now. The problem is the lighting. We've either got ridiculous sun shining through. If you've followed us on our other platform, you know when I do the videos in front of that big arched window, that's where our studio is going to be, guys. So it's either blasting hot with sunlight burning through it, or pitch black. So we're going to have lights or curtains or something, but we will get in there at some point, guys. World War III is coming. Guys, World War III is indeed coming. There's no way out of it now, guys. I just told you the steps towards it. Guys, Trump's path to war in Iran is there. It's laid out. You know, it's been set in stone. The two things, the House Resolution 559, where the United States won't let Iran get a nuclear weapon, and this group, Iranians for Trump, that I just shared. And obviously, I'll put all these links in the description. It takes me a while because once the video uploads, then I have to go and put the, I have to go and do a load of stuff for the YouTube algorithm. But then I'll put it in the, I'll put all these links in the description. Guys, nobody can underestimate that Iranians for Trump group. Next week, maybe the week after, you will find other people talking about this because, they'll understand the significance of it. And then when they decide the significance of it, then they write a story about it. Once the story is written about it, that has to be audited by the news company, and then a newsreader can get it. So that takes a long time, guys. I just see this and I give it to you in more or less real time, guys. That article came out 20 hours ago, and I've given it you just now. Yeah, really bad. Did you hear there are now strikes coming from Iraq into Israel? So there's so many strikes at the moment. What you've got to understand is when the coalition left, in fact, guys, in Iraq in 2000 and I can't even remember what year it was, guys. I want to say 2013 or 14, around that time. Basically, when ISIS just appeared from nowhere, I can remember the Iraqi army just dropping all their weapons and fleeing. It was, guys, it was embarrassing. And these, for those of you guys, I don't know what the audience that are watching at the moment, but obviously this video will be uploaded. If you were in Iraq around about that time as a security officer, as private security or whatever, the Iraqi military were absolute bullies. They would have, us Western security guys, they'd have us out on the ground. They'd be searching absolutely everything. They'd want bribes. They'd want this. They'd want that. Guys, guess what? As soon as ISIS came, they all dropped their weapon. They just dropped everything and ran. The uniforms were off. They were in the house. And guys, it's like that old meme. Everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster stuff. So who was there to fill the gap? It was the Western expat community that secured the green zone, secured all the parliament, all the government buildings, until such a time when everything had calmed down. Absolutely wild. But what I'm getting at here, guys, is when the coalition, the United States, when everybody kind of left Iraq, that left a massive power vacuum, which the Iranians filled. So Iraq now is kind of a de facto state of Iran, unfortunately, guys. It was an absolute failure. It was a catastrophe. It could have been handled so much better, but it wasn't, unfortunately. And that's the situation where we are at now, where potentially Iran is using Iraq as a launch bed for their attacks. Kev P sent some unsmiley faces. Bettina Larson. Hi, Bettina. How are you? Have we seen you? I don't think you've been here before. Everything keeps changing in the Middle East to a point where I can't. Yeah, Kenzie, everything's changing in the Middle East at the moment. It's ridiculous to try and keep up at the moment. So all we can say is that these guys are it's a dynamic situation. It's fluid. We don't know the ground truth. I've got I had one friend who was in Israel. He's left now. He's not there. The situation on the ground, when we hear things, normally you will hear it on social media first. Then there'll be a time before, because what happens is, for example, say you're in, I don't know, I'm just making this up, BBC. Say that you're the BBC and you're the reporter and you're on the ground in Israel. And you see something, or the Israel-Lebanon border, and you see something happen, you report on it. That report won't get published in real time, because that report then has to go to a publisher or an editor. That editor then has to say, right, this is actually what's happening. This is actually what's happening. No. This is the direction we want to push this. And that's just industry standard. These guys, I mean, they're a company at the end of the day. They're there to make money. So That's what will happen, and that takes time. So normally you will get to know the truth from social media, but again, social media, there's a lot of bots, there's a lot of troll farms, there are people out there to sow different seeds of information, so you don't know what's what. It's very difficult, guys. It's very difficult if you don't understand this industry, if you don't understand this world, if you don't understand this sphere. It's very difficult to identify, what's real and what's not real. Because there's some wild stuff out there, and the more wild stuff goes out there, people start to think, oh, right, that's happening. And then it's like, no, this is happening. So then people cast doubt on everything. So that's why it takes so long for the mainstream media to catch up. It's insane, guys. Evening all. Evening, Katie starting. Nicola Laws. Hi, everyone. Remember yesterday's talk of Russian ICBM test? Well, they have started apparently because they're testing one in it failed inside the silo. Yeah, well, we don't. Well, so again, we don't know that this happened, but this is what mainstream media are reporting on. Yeah, so yesterday, guys, I did a talk and I concentrated on what's happening in Ukraine. Like today, I wanted to concentrate on what's on the road to war for Iran, for the United States, and how that's going to happen. But yeah, there's reports out now on social media, on some media channels, none of the big ones, that the Russians tried to. And again, we don't know, guys, all right? We can only speculate. Obviously, the Russians are never going to come out and say we had a failed attempt. But what people are saying is that the Russians tried to detonate I don't think they'll have tried to detonate a full system, but they may have tried to detonate parts of it. So they may have tried an initiator. They may have tried some parts, because a nuclear weapon, to detonate that, it's very complicated, and each part needs to work perfectly for the next part to have its chain reaction for it to go nuclear. So they may have just tried to test some part of it, or they may just have been, testing some of their underground facilities. Russia is huge, guys, absolutely huge. People, when we talk about Russia, and people don't understand how big it is. The sheer vast size of Russia. Even if we had satellite coverage over the whole of Russia, we still wouldn't know what's going on underground. You just think about it, guys. All Russia have to do is get some digging equipment, dig it underground, and then they can dig wherever they want. We would have no idea what's under that facility, because we can't, the satellites can't look underground. We can only see what's on the top. Of course, there may be some ground penetrating radar, but these things are not as good as we're led to believe. They're really not. What happens if okay, so Nicola Laws is saying, has Kamala really stood down? No, Kamala hasn't stood down, but I may be wrong, but I don't see any chance that Kamala can win. I mean, guys, I always say this, I don't want to get involved in another country's politics, but equally, we're looking, Texas is one of the places we would consider moving to, as well as Ukraine, Kiev. So I look at Kamala Harris, and I look at, when she's doing these little giggling gaffes, going, hey, and when she's talking about this coffee mug, I mean, can you imagine her if you know what I'm talking about? She's giving some interview, and she starts talking about the lid on a coffee mug, how Starbucks coffee mug lids are white, and she gets lipstick on it. So she asked Starbucks if she could have a brown lid or something. I'm like, guys, is this really going to be the next leader of the free world? Is this really someone that America can see, going and negotiating with, the supreme leader of Iran? Is this somebody who can go out and meet with Vladimir Putin and agree a peace deal or a trade deal? Can she? Guys, to me anyway, it's absurd. And she had that throuple relationship with in the 90s or whatever. Is that really the best person you have? Guys, that's just my opinion. I think it's absurd that she can win. Again, she's still in the race apparently. She's not dropped out. Trump's still winning. I just don't see any way that Trump can't win. I really don't, guys. I may be wrong. What happens if Trump doesn't get into the White House? So if Trump doesn't get into the White House, I think this is going to happen anyway. you know, you've already seen the European Union and, you know, and the rest of Europe pushing towards letting the Ukrainians use these long-range missiles. I think this will happen. If that happens, you know, Kamala Harris, if in the unlikely event that she is president, what would happen I think so this is the groundwork that I see happening now. If she's in the White House, the EU, and I'm talking about France, Germany, the United Kingdom, maybe Sweden, you know, they would all let the Ukrainians use these long-range weapons. And then at that point, Kamala Harris would say, ha, 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 I think we're going to leave this one alone, ha, or something like that, guys. Honestly, I don't want to be negative about another person's politician, but the way she giggles all the time, I mean, come on. She's supposed to be a potential leader of the free world. So that's the way I see it going, you know, if in the unlikely event she is in the White House, but I honestly can't see it. Let's go Ukraine. Evening, mate. Evening indeed. Yeah. So James Adams, is Islamic Revolution changed the whole Middle East? It did, you know, it changed the whole Middle East. It was wild, you know, I think I think there's more to come. And as soon as Trump gets elected, I'll say if, guys, because in fairness, it is if. But if Trump gets elected, that's going to be the way he's going to go. You're going to see this group, Iranians for Trump. You're going to see that escalate. You're going to see more push with Iranians for Trump. And then you're going to see civil unrest in Iran. You're going to see, you're going to have these, you guys, you're going to have these images. Remember this now, guys. You're going to have these images of Iranians holding up Trump flags or holding up US flags saying, please come and save us, or something like that, you know. And again, you know, to look at this objectively, guys, these people will have been paid. I can guarantee it. All you need to do is you need to pay people, and then once you pay people, you reach enough critical mass. People do it anyway. I think there was, you know, a good example is like a good example that's off topic is what's her name? Madonna. Madonna back in the 80s, you know, her press team used to pay people, you know, when the MTV cameras were there, they used to pay people to dress up like Madonna and just go crackers in front of the camera. You guys dress up like Madonna, go crackers in front of the camera. And then guess what? People saw that. Everybody wanted to dress up like Madonna and go crackers. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be Madonna. Guys, people, media, the governments, the highest levels of government, they know how to manipulate this. You know, a good example on how to manipulate media is, there's a few. Let me think of one. So, for example, in Ukraine, in the Maidan Revolution. So the Maidan Revolution, guys, it was a grassroots revolution. That's how it started. At some point, I can't remember the exact date, but at some point, Facebook said, right, Facebook is going to allow every user in Ukraine free access to all their services. Doesn't sound like much, does it? Doesn't sound like much at all. No, it doesn't. All right, we get free Facebook. All right, cool. All right, so they get free communications. They get to phone people now. They get to use they get to phone people on Facebook for free. They get to do video calling for free on Facebook. So guess what? Everybody starts to use Facebook. Guess what else that means? It means Facebook's controlling your news feed now. So whoever's controlling the algorithm of Facebook is controlling your news feed, and he's controlling what you see. You control the information, you control the people. Guys, that's how it works in a nutshell. But yeah, sorry guys, that was slightly off topic, but yeah. Lead balloon. Thessalonians 5:3. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly. As labor pains on a pregnant woman, they will not escape. I think so indeed. I'm not sure the deeper meaning of that, although we can speculate. I think what we're saying there is, while people are saying peace and safety, war is coming. So yeah, I think that's right. You've got people out in the media and they're all saying, oh, we can have peace, guys. Remember, like a couple of live streams ago, and I gave you the analogy of, remember when your kids, remember you're going camping, right? Imagine this now, guys. When you're talking about war, global conflict, nuclear war, thermonuclear Armageddon, guys, bring it down to your house level, right? So summer's coming, you're going camping with your kids are naughty, you tell them you're not going camping. All the time, you're buying camping equipment, you're buying tents, sleeping bags, camping food, boat mattresses, all the rest of it. Guess what? You're still going camping. Does not matter what you tell your kids, all right? And that's kind of the same thing we are at the moment, guys, all right? All the countries are buying weapons. And by weapons, what I mean is ammunition. Guys, this war is going to be a slugging match. It's going to be a war of industry. So whoever can create the most stuff quickest is going to win. All these new smart bombs, smart technology, it's not going to matter. We've seen this in Ukraine. We've seen this with the Russian invasion. It's going to matter who can produce the most and the most quickly. During World War II in Fife, Scotland, we have standing stones with I don't know what this means. During World War II with Fife, we have standing stones with local towns, distance, etc. They were removed so Germans wouldn't. So yeah, it basically, yeah. So standing stones. So people in Fife were moving things around so the Germans wouldn't understand where, what locations were what locations. Guys, the depths we have, right? Imagine when we had to clap for our carers and bang the pans. Can you imagine if we have a global conflict right now and, of like an industrial scale? We don't have our Churchill yet. People are talking about Farage. I'm not convinced. I may be wrong. I've met Farage. He's intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. I don't think he would have the stomach to make the strong decisions like Churchill did. I may be wrong, guys. And that's a compliment to Farage, if anything. So imagine the top team we've got at the moment: Keir Starmer, David Lammy. Guys, Angela Rayner, Jess Phillips, Wes Streeting, guys, we might as well all just start learning Russian now. No, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I don't think they're a long way from us. Why do you think Donald Trump would go to war with Iran? It's actually the first time I've heard that. Kenzie, you will hear a lot of things from me from the first time, and in a couple of months, the mainstream will catch up. It all comes down to this resolution 559 that was passed. That's the main reason. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon as for nuclear US legislation. The next thing that will happen is this, like we've just said, the next thing that will literally happen will be you'll see a pro-America movement in Iran. Guys, we could ask that question, why does anybody want to go to war? It's beyond me. And the more I think about it, guys, the darker the rabbit hole goes, because normally when I used to look at these things, I just used to think like, I just used to think of, right, okay, and I would leave it at a certain level. But then I started to ask myself, right, okay, why are we doing war in the first place? And guys, believe it or not, that is like one of the questions I only recently started to ask myself. And guys, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, that is a dark place to go, guys. All right, I'm not going to do it here, but it's a dark place to go. Please, but have a think about it, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Can we do a video on what food we need to collect? Suzanne, right? We had a question about this yesterday. Yeah, so we had a question about this yesterday, and I just said, the best food to get is the food that you eat and that will last a long time. Don't bother buying any. I don't like. And again, I said this yesterday when I used to do training in Ukraine. One of the Ukrainians came up to me and he goes, "Okay, Sean, I have high energy bar. It is 2,500 calories, enough for one day." I said, "All right, Yuri, right, mate. You need that's not going to last you, mate. You are not going to survive on like 8 of them for like a week or whatever." "No, I will. It has the correct calories." I'm like, "All right, mate." So anyway, it was catastrophic. So try and get the food that you use. Also think about your kids. If you're looking at food for your, and you're thinking about whatever, just start. I don't really we will. Whatever. You asked me, Susan, so I will give you the answer. You know, people always talk about, you know, your highest calorie per price or whatever it is, penny per calorie. I think that's what they work out at. You know, and I did a video on our other platform. I said it was rice. I actually thought about it a little bit more, and it's actually flour. That's the cheapest calorie that you can get. Big bags of flour. It's more calorific for your price than rice. But realistically, are you going to sit there with a spoon eating flour? Absolutely not. You'll die before that happens, guys. Trust me. You know, I've seen it. You know, I've seen it in Iraq. I've seen it in Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan. We, when I was in the military, we only had menu D. If that means anything to you, it's literally the same thing. And guys, honestly, eating the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, it's difficult. So try and get some variety. You know, but also try and learn to grow your own stuff, guys. Honestly, you know, because a protracted conflict, everybody's gonna need to grow their own food, guys. You know, you can only have so much tinned food. If you've got the knowledge to grow your own, that is far better than having, you know, having tinned food in your basement. Are you fully prepared? No, nobody's fully prepared. If it goes nuclear, do you have a plan? If so, please share that knowledge. So I honestly don't think we're going to have nuclear weapons falling on the United Kingdom. I really don't. Our deterrent is too potent. We've got, you know, our military, although it's absolutely tiny. So people complain about the size of the British military, and I do think it is too small. But if you take a step back and you look at this holistically, you guys think, right, okay, is Britain ever going to get in a war without allies? No, it's not going to happen. We're too small, you know. But what Britain does have, we have great infantry, we have great special forces, we have some absolutely fantastic technical capacity. That's why Britain would be at the lead in a European Union, you know, against Russia war. Britain would take the lead from that because we've got the best infantry, we've got the best soldiers, the best airplanes, you know, and we've got 2 aircraft carriers. So, you know, that kind of puts us at the forefront. And of course, you know, we're a nuclear power. Sean, how confident are you can protect Sarah and the girls if it kicks off? Please explain how. So I honestly, guys, and I say this all the time, I think the main threat to the United Kingdom is sabotage. I don't see these, you know, remember the attack recently that went to, well, I say recently, a couple of months ago, the attack that went in against the Russians by, like, I think it was like a terrorist group or something. It was basically just a couple of people who had AK. I think there was 2 AK-47s and 1 AK-74. I don't know what the other weapon was. You know, those guys got paid equivalent to $5,000 each. So $20,000, there was 4 of them. Look at the carnage that whoever funded that was managed to, you know, look at the bang for the buck they got for $5,000 each, $20,000. You know, so when we're talking about, you know, the United States or the United Kingdom, you know, having you know, an attack off another country, I just don't see it, guys. I really don't see it. There's too much, you know where these attacks have come from. If a long range missile comes in, you know where that missile's come from and you'll respond in kind. If criminal gangs are running all over the country, stabbing, shooting, blowing things up, how can you blame that on another? How can you blame that on another country? You can't, but you still have the same effect. You still have the same effect in that country. You can target whoever you want with absolute anonymity. You know, in the days of the internet, Bitcoin, you know, hawalas, all this sort of stuff, guys. It just makes sabotage an easier option, an easier way forward. It makes it easier to sabotage things than it does to send a missile over. You know, but everybody wants to focus on these missiles, guys. Realistically, I think if the missiles are going to be used, they're going to be used in eastern Ukraine. I think there's also a potential for missiles to be used in nuclear missiles. There's also a strong argument for the first case of a nuclear missile being used could be by the Russians inside Russian territory. Now, the argument for that is if Putin uses a missile on his own territory, he's done 2 things. First of all, he's shown the West, he's done 3 things. He's shown the West he can he's shown the West he will, but he's not actually technically used a weapon on someone else's soil. So how can the West respond? What other attack? What can we do? If at what point can somebody say, "We told you, Putin, not to nuke yourself"? It just doesn't work, does it? So I think that's where it could be, guys. And again, your guess is as good as mine. I'm just giving you the options. Choose one. Ukraine back in Zionist, one the East. Yeah, hi again, Pineapple. Stacey, Stacey, are you late to the party again? Was you eating your bacon sandwich? Was you frying it? I hope you was. Love your videos. Thank you, Pineapple. Thank you, Pineapple. We love your name and we hope you are well. Iran is going to end up at war with Israel. Yeah, the US will end up stepping up to keep things under control. Yeah. So the geography here, guys, so Iran is going to end up at war with Israel, potentially. The US will end up stepping in to keep things under control. So what I think with the geography here, guys, I don't think the Iranians have that long range. Okay, that's wrong. The Iranians do have that long-range strike capability, but they don't have that long-range projection capability. So what's the difference between strike and projection? Long-range strike would be able to throw a missile over there. Long-range projection would be, I don't think Israel did I get them two mixed up? I don't think Israel has the capacity to put, I don't know, 100,000 soldiers in tanks and have them on the border, on Iran's borders. I don't think Israel has the capacity to load up 5 CH-47 transport helicopters, fly into Iran, do a raid, get them back on the helicopters and bring them back. That's the difference between strike capability and projection capability. And again, just slightly off topic, but Britain's projection capability, it's absolutely fantastic. That's why we can go and take, hostages from other countries. High protein fruit and veg, long shelf life. Yeah, I mean, with all these prepping things, guys, I always think, if you can grow your own, that is, that's just so much better than any of the other things, guys. It really is. What have we got here? Hi in Denmark. Hi again. Larson, of course. Why didn't I think Larson? We've been advised to prepare with food, water, and other things for at least 3 days. But they said if the water and other crises happen, but not the war. Yeah, so this is like in the United Kingdom, there's a similar thing as well, Bettina. So in the United Kingdom, like a couple of months back, they literally did the same thing. They said, hey, guys, this is nothing to do with World War III. This is nothing to do with these global conflicts that are, that are brewing all over the world. But just maybe you should all have food, water, a radio, a flashlight, blankets, and spare medication, or something like that. They said that in the United Kingdom to us as well. So, obviously what we've just found out for those guys who are not in Denmark, for those guys who are in the United Kingdom from Britannia, we found out that in Denmark, they're telling people to get prepared for something. Remember, guys, I keep saying the people in Europe, mainland Europe, they're under a bigger threat because it's a lot easier to smuggle things in and around Europe than it is to get things into the United Kingdom. I'm not saying that there's no munitions, there's no kinetic charges in the United Kingdom. What I am saying is that they are in a lot more plentiful supply in Europe. And again, a lot of these will have been brought over the border from, the conflict in Ukraine. Could it be, guys? And I'm not saying that this has happened. I'm speculating. You guys make your own minds up. Could it be that criminal gangs got their hands on some weapons or rocket launchers or something that were supposed to be in Ukraine, and they managed to smuggle them back to Poland, then back to Germany, then back to France, and then they're in mainland Europe now? Could that be a possibility, guys? What do we think? Do we also think we've got people in Ukraine right now, potentially criminal gangs, who are learning how to make normal drones into, lethal devices? We know it's happening on the battlefield. Do we think they could potentially use those skills when they're off the battlefield for criminal matters? I'll let you guys decide on that. But things in Europe, guys, are absolutely insane. Oh, Bettina, of course we understand your English. It's a lot better than, it's a lot better than my Danish. Yeah, so guys, a lot of time when in my working career, I've worked with interpreters, and people always say, oh, my English is terrible, guys, right? And again, this is what, if people are speaking to you in English and they're speaking with an accent, guys, that's their second language, and it really grates me, guys, when people make fun, and I'm certainly not making fun, and I know nobody would make fun of anybody's accent on this channel, guys, because you guys are fantastic. You're the smartest, you're the best looking, and you are the most articulate of all viewers I've ever seen, and a lot of people are saying that. What I'm saying is, guys, so I speak English, Russian, Ukrainian, and 2 dialects of Arabic. I'm not the best at those languages, I get by. And it's very difficult when I'm trying to talk to people in, if I'm trying to talk to someone in Russian, if I'm trying to talk to someone in Ukrainian, or if I'm trying to talk to someone in Arabic. In fact, I remember I was in Dubai, and is it Al Jumeirah Mall with the ski slope? I think it's Al Jumeirah. Not Al Jazeera. I can't remember what it is, but the big mall in Dubai with the ski slope. I was in there and I was trying to get some of those, and again, totally abstract, guys, off topic. I was trying to get some of those Vibram 5 fingers, those like shoes, gloves that you fit on your hand. I'm trying to talk to the guy. I'm trying to explain in Arabic. And he said to me, Baghdadi. So I have apparently a Baghdad accent when I'm speaking Arabic, which I thought was cool anyway. But guys, it's going to be the last question because it's gone 9 o'clock, and I only want to do an hour. I can do longer streams, but I just want to do an hour each day this week until the end of the month. Once I've done an hour, guys, we're going to work out when are the best times for me to live stream. Do you think it's true cars are now exploding in Lebanon now? This could easily spread as a criminal gangs on trade. So, okay, so the thing, I think, are you alluding to the batteries on the cars? So, guys, I've said, so regardless of the exploding cars in Lebanon, I've said long ago that electric cars are not gonna, nobody's gonna take to electric cars. We're gonna look back in 10 years' time. We're gonna look back and think, what were we all thinking with these electric cars? Are we all mad? Are we all insane? We are literally going to be thinking that with the electric cars. The lithium batteries, they literally, guys, lithium explodes. It's not good. The amount of rare earth materials that you need to make these batteries, to produce these cars, there's not enough on the, well, I don't think there's enough on the planet. And if there is enough, there's not, it's tight. We need something that's plentiful, guys. And and there's a lot of supply. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, bar none. Hydrogen's going to be the future, guys. We're all going to be driving hydrogen cars, whether that's hydrogen ICE cars or ICE internal combustion engine. So it's either going to be a hydrogen combustion or it's going to be hydrogen fuel cells. Now, I'm not sure which ones. It may be a combination. I don't know, but it is definitely not going to be electric cars. Do you think it's true cars are now exploding in Lebanon? I don't think it's true, no. I think if it did happen with these lithium batteries, I think it's because it's something in the battery. And remember, this is how fear spreads. Fear is very contagious. So, for example, pagers, kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Oh my God, everybody's pagers. And then, walkie-talkies. Oh, walkie-talkies. And then you see a car with a broken battery because, guys, if you've ever driven in the Middle East, those guys are wild. Somebody's gone over a bump. They've ruptured the battery's got wet. It's exploded. And now everybody's thinking, oh, the cars are going to explode. And this is how fear escalates. I don't think there's any truth behind it, other than there is a lot of lithium in those batteries, and they can go make quite a big bang. I think this exploding pages, the exploding walkie-talkies, guys, I think that was an operation. I think these things were intercepted at the manufacturing process. These things were built with these charges in them. I don't see any way you can retrofit these, guys. I really don't. You need the right computer boards and everything. I'm from Northern Ireland, so we only have one bunker, which only has 234 beds. So, Kenzie, I know there's more than that bunkers in Northern Ireland. Well, I guess, at least you've got some bunkers. There's none in the United Kingdom, but is there not like old military bases? I know down on South Armagh near Crossmaglen, there's like loads of them on those border towns near Crossmaglen. I don't know what part of Northern Ireland you're from, but yeah, build your own bunker, guys. Get in your garden, build a bunker. It's a right laugh. What else have we got? There's one active. There's one active one. The rest are. Oh, right. Okay. I didn't know that. Guys, what I find really interesting and really, really telling is once Iraq and Afghanistan happened and started in Northern. Okay, so pre 2001. Pre 2001. The British military just went to Northern Ireland. That was your operational tour. You go to Northern Ireland, you do Kenya, you go to Oman, you'd go back to Northern Ireland, and that was your operational tour. Then, the war on terror happened, the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war happened, and all of a sudden, literally within like 3 months, all the terrorist cells got wrapped up in Northern Ireland, everything got closed down, and everybody moved to Iraq and Afghanistan. Absolutely wild, guys. Why couldn't they have done that earlier? Do you think it had anything to do with money? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I am going to close it there. I hope I've managed to answer all your questions. Guys, I am going to be back on here tomorrow. We're going to talk about did I reach everything? Guys, I missed David Lammy. Guys, I'm going to have to do David. I'll do David. Guys, I'll quickly talk about what David Lammy said now, and then we'll talk about it more tomorrow because it is quite important. It really is, guys. You need to see this. So this is. Sorry, guys. Where is he? Oh, guys, I missed a few. Right. What we will do, we will talk about this now, guys, and then I'll just give you the outline, and then tomorrow we will start off with this. So I'll give you the thing now, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So this is from the Labour speech. This was today, guys. This was at 2:13 today. Lammy urges guts in ongoing US talks over Ukraine using missiles in Ukraine. I'm gonna just give you this bit here, guys, which is the important bit. Speaking at a fringe event at the Labour Party conference in Liverpool, Lammy said the hardship and challenge of the war in Ukraine would get deeper and harsher. Remember what I said previously about these scripted speeches, particularly heading into back end of 2025 and 2026 and beyond. So, guys, he's telling us there we're getting ready to fight a long, protracted war. That's the reality, guys. Everything is out there now. Everything's out there for us to see. We can see the footsteps in front of us. We can see the paths. Guys, I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow's live stream off with this. I just wanted to get it out there because I didn't mean to mention it today, guys. Tim Lindsay, Cookstown, I live there. Guys, I'm going to leave it there now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be back on here tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all those things that you guys do with the buttons down there where you click your fingers. Everything we're doing, guys, we're doing a great job. You guys are fantastic. I'm going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I hope you guys are too. Please share my stuff. If there's any subject matter experts who want to come on or you want to talk to me and ask me some difficult questions, guys, feel free and feel free. I'll answer them in real time, guys. I'm here in real time, answering your questions in real time, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.